Okay. Susan Warnick, everybody, among her many honors and awards, she has won 3 regional Emmys. She's being inducted, yes, that deserves applause, for sure. She's like, move it along. She's being inducted into the Massachusetts Broadcasters Hall of Fame on September 12th, is that accurate?
It was actually
Last September 12th.
Yeah, where were you?
Okay, we're off to a great start. Okay, good. Good.
I begged her to come. I begged her to come, and now I know why she wasn't there.
I'm firing my research assistant, which is me. Okay. So, no, but we really want to talk about just all of your wonderful transitions because there are some really just cool things that you've done. You were, you've been in journalism for 33 years, and you're a pioneer in your industry. You've had many, many pivotal points in your career. I was really interested in learning about the fact that you had 2 really kind of, they've been talked about a lot, but one of the pivotal points was when you were held in contempt of court for not naming one of your sources on a story, and that was a pretty big deal, and it got the attention of a lot of other journalists. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
I really don't.
Okay.
I really thought I was going to win the shoe contest.
Oh, well.
I really came here. I thought, we got better shoes than these. Who knows?
They are pretty fabulous. I was trying to spread the love. You win the best necklace contest.
I thought that I was going to have it. No, anyway, thank you for mentioning that. I'm very proud of that, actually, because it was back before many of you were alive. But, okay. I was covering a story about Revere police officers who were accused of looting a CVS store. And I was doing the stories, and after I got off the air one day, I got a phone call in the newsroom. This was long before cell phones. And the guy says to me, I just saw your story. And I saw those cops there that day. And I know the state police are investigating them, so who should I call? And I said, me. And I said, what'd you see? And he told me on the phone what he saw. And I said, well, this is all really important information, and you should talk to the state police. But you should talk to me first. You should do an interview with me first. And he said, no, I can't do it. I'm not going to be on television. People know who I am. I live in Revere. Cops will come after me. I said, oh, don't you worry. We'll put your back to the camera, and no one will ever know who you are, and I will never tell anybody who you are. So, I'm summing it up quickly now, but in fact, I talked to him on the phone for over an hour that night, convinced him to do what we call a back-to-camera interview, and I put him on the 11 o'clock news. And the next morning, the state trooper in charge of the investigation called me and said, I saw your interview last night. He said, he's quite a good witness. And I said, yeah, he is. And he said, what's his name? And I said, oh, didn't he call you? He said, yeah, he called me, but he wouldn't tell me his name. He said, you're the only one who knows his name, so what's his name? And I said, wow, I can't tell you his name because I told him that I would never divulge his identity. Never in a million years then realizing that he wasn't going to tell the police who he was. But so it went for 3 months as the state police investigated the Revere cops. Every time they needed to talk to my witness, they called me. I called him. And then he would call them. Right. And they never knew who he was. I was the only one who knew who he was. So when they were bringing all of their information before a grand jury trying to get indictments, they needed this guy to come and testify. But they couldn't subpoena him because they didn't know his name. So they brought me before the grand jury and said, okay, what's his name? And I said, really sorry.
Was that scary? Was that
Terrified. I was terrified.
You were terrified, of going to jail. On the Chronicle piece, did anybody see the Chronicle piece that celebrated Susan's retirement? It was an incredible piece. But it looked scary.
Right, and I wasn't afraid of being in jail. I really wasn't, because let's be honest, they knew that as soon as I got out of jail, I was going to do stories about what was going on in jail. So I had never been, at that point in my life, I was in my mid-30s, and I was 64, okay, let's just get that out there. And I had never been even laid up for anything. I had never been out of work, and I was just really afraid, terrified actually, of losing my freedom. So that was what bothered me.
How did that sort of impact you as just from a pure